Small towns in the middle of nowhere can be some of the most enjoyable yet boring places at the same time. Some places, however, take that narrative to a whole other level due to the sheer isolation they have to offer. With populations as small as they come and access sometimes limited to only planes and helicopters, these places are truly on the edge of civilization. Stick around and absorb the loneliness while we cover the top 10 most isolated towns on Earth. Before we hop into the video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, or don't and not be cool. Number 10. OYMYAKON, Russia. A remote town in the Siberian wilderness, known to be the coldest inhabited place on Earth, OYMYAKON is not the ideal place for a family vacation. With 21 hours of darkness per day and average temperatures that hover around negative 60 degrees, it's very surprising that 500 brave men and women call this place home year-round. Obviously, it's impossible to grow crops in such a bitter environment, so the residents rely heavily on reindeer meat, frozen fish, and cubes of horse blood with macaroni. We don't know about you guys, but we're set on that last one. To get to OYMYAKON, you have to take a flight from Moscow to either Yakutsk or Magadan, both of which are over 560 miles away. From the latter two, you must then take the Kolyma Highway, a treacherous stretch of road that's largely unmaintained, until you finally reach your destination in OYMYAKON. The average trip takes anywhere from 2 days to a week, depending on the weather and road conditions. All the buildings' foundations are built on underground stilts due to the permafrost that occasionally warms enough for movement in the soil that would destroy buildings otherwise. With such cold conditions, indoor plumbing becomes impossible, so most all residents call the great outdoors their bathroom. Number 9. BARROW, Alaska. Perched at the very top of Alaska, in between the Chukchi and Beaufort Seas, lies the isolated town of Barrow, the northernmost town in America. 320 miles north of the Arctic Circle, Barrow has no road connections to the rest of Alaska, so boat and plane are the only realistic options to get to the village. Its 5,400 residents rely heavily on the ocean for producing their food, mainly in the form of whales, seals, polar bears, walrus, waterfowl, fish, and the migratory caribou. When the sun sets on November 18th or 19th in the village, it doesn't rise again for 65 days. It's known that the Inuit people have inhabited the area as far back as 800 AD. Scientists agree that the Arctic is warming twice as fast as the rest of the world, and that Barrow is ground zero for research on climate change. Being so remote comes with its costs, however, and for basic household foods, the people of Barrow pay a premium. For example, a simple jar of Jif peanut butter can cost up to $10, and the same goes for a gallon of milk. Number 8. Villa Las Estrellas, Antarctica. Spanish for Stars Town, Villa Las Estrellas is one of the only 2 civilian settlements on the entire continent of Antarctica. All other inhabited areas of the continent are occupied by scientists. The villa is a Chilean settlement and requires a 2-day boat ride from Ushuaia, Argentina, across the Drake Passage to the Arctic Circle. Like any town, it has the essentials such as a gym, church, public school, post office, and even souvenir shop. Being so remote, potential visitors would need a place to stay, so accommodations for such activity have been made in the form of a small hostel, which can house up to 20 people at a time. With a population of just over 100 during the summer, it's the largest civilian settlement of Antarctica. Attractions of the town during the tourist season include snowmobile and skiing expeditions, as well as chances of seeing the local wildlife from penguins to killer whales. Number 7. Longyearbyen, Norway. The northernmost town in the world, Longyearbyen is a historic coal mining town and was founded in 1907. Steaming with great diversity, the town has 2,400 residents, of which come from over 50 countries around the world. Inhabited largely by nature enthusiasts, the tight-knit community lives together under harsh climate conditions of the high Arctic wilderness. Residents enjoy all the modern comforts of civilization, having full indoor plumbing, electricity, a wide range of shops, restaurants, and bars, along with varied cultural offerings. Believe it or not, Longyearbyen has its own brewery, chocolatery, and greenhouse that supplies the town with all its fresh herbs and vegetables. During the dark months here, people go to work in the dark and return home in the dark, all while the northern lights dance extravagantly throughout the sky. Residents must carry weapons on them at all times when outside due to the threat of polar bear attacks. Many people who visit Longyearbyen intend to only stay a year, but most catch the Arctic bug and stay much longer, some spending their lives here. No person can be buried at Longyearbyen due to the ground's permafrost, which doesn't allow for bodily decomposition. When a resident is terminally sick or is about to die, they must be flown back to the mainland of Norway to receive burial. So yeah, As insane as it sounds, you truly aren't allowed to die here. Drop a comment below and smash the like button if you would visit this amazing isolate town. Number 6. La Rinconada. Known as the highest town in the world, La Rinconada sits 16,000 feet above sea level in the Andes Mountains. About 40,000 people live here in the harsh environment where the air is thin and it's constantly bitter cold throughout the year. The town is only accessible by small mountainside roads that are precarious throughout, and the journey could take several days. Formed because of high gold concentration in the surrounding mountains, La Rinconada was never meant to be a permanent residence. The town is largely unregulated by the government, and tourists avoid the town due to an overwhelming lack of amenities. There are no hotels or hospitals, and homes have no plumbing or electricity. With more than 68% of the population living below the poverty line, the people here rely almost entirely on the gold mines carved into the mountains surrounding the town. The miners hike 30 minutes each day to get to the mines, which are filled with poisonous gases such as cyanide and mercury, all while fighting the lack of oxygen. It's incredible how much hardship people will endure for a chance at a better life. Number 5. Isloated, Canada. Canada's most northern city and capital of the Nunavut territory, Isloated is known for its ice-capped mountains and tundra valleys. Accessible only by sea or air, there are daily flights from Ottawa, which is over 1,300 miles away. Self-governed by the Inuit people, the town shot to prominence in 1995 after it became the capital city for the territory. Full of diversity, it's Canada's youngest and fastest growing capital city, founded on an Inuit civilization stretching back millennia. Tensions between traditionalists and the younger generations have grown as the city struggles to find a common ground between creating a modern functioning city and retaining traditional Inuit cultural values and rituals. Winter months bring average temps below -50 degrees with wind chill, and darkness reigns for months on end. With all supplies having to be flown in, prices of household goods skyrocket. A 1-liter bottle of Coke goes for $10 and 2 liters of milk goes for $6.50. Climate change over the past decade has been wreaking havoc on the town as water and sewer pipes are shifting in the ground's permafrost as the temperatures rise and cause major breakages estimated to cost over $1 billion in damages. Number 4. SUPAI, Arizona. Known as the most remote town in the lower 48, SUPAI resides in the remote reaches of the Grand Canyon. Home to the Havasupai tribe, they have inhabited the area since 1300 AD. Known as the people of the green blue waters, they carry that name due to the 4 waterfalls that run alongside the Havasu Creek that are active year-round and are a popular hotspot for tourists. Accessible only by horse, helicopter, or an 8-mile hike, the town is truly isolated in its own little nook of the canyon. SUPAI is also the only location left in the US that mails lure by mule. The tribe is greatly known for its location, traditional cultural life, and their beautiful arts and crafts. Number 3. Easter Island, Chile. 2,300 miles off the coast of Chile lies Easter Island, home to the iconic stone statues erected by the native peoples. To date, 900 statues have been found on the island at the end of the earth. With only 8,000 residents, the economy of Easter Island runs mostly off the tourism that its unique statues bring. It's estimated that over 100,000 people visit each year, which is quite a lot considering how far from civilization it is. Founded in 1200 AD by a group of Polynesians, the island thrived with human activities for hundreds of years. It's largely believed by scientists that the people settled into different groups and populations grew. Once the natural resources began to dwindle, however, it's suspected that tribes began to fight for the remaining resources, and that's what led to the collapse of civilization on the island. Number 2. SIWA Oasis, Egypt. Isolated in the middle of Egypt's western desert, the city of SIWA and its nearly 33,000 inhabitants have been able to preserve their language and culture successfully. A 5-hour bus ride from the nearest city of Cairo will get you into SIWA. In the city, locally grown dates and olives can be enjoyed, and if spending the night, you can stay in a hotel made entirely from mud and clay. Salt pools just off in the desert will give you a once-in-a-lifetime experience to float on water. Cleopatra's Pool, made entirely out of stone and fed by a natural spring, can be used for a refreshing dip. The ancient fortress of CHILE can be explored, as well as the Mountain of the Dead, a place in which chambers were carved out for people who passed away until the late Roman era. For a place so isolated from the rest of Egypt, the amount of things to do in SIWA is incredible, so make sure to throw this city on your bucket list. Number 1. COOBER, PEDY, Australia. Known as the opal capital of the world, COOBER PEDY is a small remote mining town. Founded in 1915, the town of 2,000 residents continues the opal mining industry today and offers guided tours of mines that were once active. The opal started forming over 150 million years ago as seawater receded. Silica solution was carried down into cavities where it was deposited and ultimately formed the opal pulled from the ground today. The town is a 2-hour flight from the city of Adelaide, and many residents live in homes dug out underground. One of the most unique living situations in the world, these nighttime residencies are something to thoroughly examine. If you want to stay overnight here, you can stay underground too. For 16 Australian dollars per person, you can stay and pitch a tent in an abandoned mine or stay in an underground desert hotel, both of which are an incredible experience to have.